Hello Chelsea fans, welcome back again. The days leading up to Chelsea's highly anticipated Champions League battle against FC Barcelona on the 25th of November 2025 were supposed to be filled with confidence. Stamford Bridge had seen darker days in recent seasons, but with the rebuilding process under Enzo Maresca gaining momentum, optimism had finally returned. Yet, as the fixture approached, a match that could determine Chelsea's entire Champions League campaign, the mood around Cobham training ground grew tense, not because of tactical issues, not because of form, but because four of Chelsea's most influential players, Enzo Fernandez, Pedro Neto, Cole Palmer and Jamie Bynoe-Gittens, were suddenly doubtful for the biggest night of the season. The story of how Chelsea reached such a precarious moment, just days before facing Barcelona, was a mixture of misfortune, pressure, and the brutal physical demands of modern football. What was once expected to be a normal week of preparation had quickly morphed into a crisis that left Maresca pacing his office late into the night, flipping through medical reports with a sense of dread he could not hide. Enzo Fernandez. The midfield engine under threat. For Enzo Fernandez, the season had been a personal mission. After the turbulence of the previous campaigns, the Argentine star had vowed to reclaim control of Chelsea's midfield with consistency, maturity, and leadership. His performances had indeed risen to a new level, dictating tempo, breaking lines, and anchoring Chelsea's possession-based style in a way reminiscent of his days at Benfica. But in the match preceding the Barcelona clash, Enzo felt an unusual tightening in his lower back. At first, he brushed it off. Footballers learn quickly to distinguish between pain that matters and pain that fades. But the tightness didn't fade. Instead, it intensified during training, forcing him to pull out mid-session for the first time in months. Chelsea's medical staff inspected him carefully. An MRI revealed nerve irritation. Not severe enough for long-term concern, but enough to sideline him temporarily. The problem was the calendar. The fixture against Barcelona was not weeks away. It was days. Enzo hated sitting out, especially when the team needed him most. In the privacy of Cobham's recovery area, he vented his frustration to the staff. "I've played through worse," he argued. "Yes," the physio answered firmly. "And that's exactly how problems become serious. If we rush this, you risk missing months, not days." The midfielder knew they were right, but logic didn't soften the sting of possibly missing the match that could define Chelsea's European season. His face remained stoic, but the tension in his expression said everything. For Chelsea, playing Barcelona without Enzo Fernandez was like removing the heartbeat from a living body. Pedro Neto, the wing wizard facing a race against time. Pedro Neto's story was different, built on fragility and resilience. Signed from Wolves, his electric pace, creative vision, and ability to destabilise defences had transformed Chelsea's right flank. When he was fit, Chelsea looked unpredictable, direct, and dangerous. When he wasn't, their attack became easier to read. This season had been kinder to him, until the moment everything changed in training. During a high-intensity drill, Neto exploded forward, cut sharply inside, and suddenly reached for his hamstring. The whistle blew instantly. Players knew that motion far too well. Neto sat on the turf, shaking his head in disbelief. Another hamstring scare. The medical team confirmed it quickly. A grade 1 strain. Minor, but too close to the Barcelona match for comfort. For a winger whose entire game relied on acceleration and agility, even the slightest discomfort could transform brilliance into hesitation. Neto was devastated. He'd circled the Barcelona match the moment the fixtures came out. Growing up, Barca were the club he admired, the team he always wanted to face on the biggest stage. Missing that opportunity, after all the injuries he'd already survived, felt unbearably cruel. Chelsea's staff worked overtime, cryotherapy, tailored gym sessions, regenerative injections, and accelerated rehab routines. Neto pushed himself through everything they asked, even more at times, his determination bordering on obsession. But the truth lingered. Time was not on his side, and Barcelona were coming fast. Cole Palmer, the maestro fighting fatigue and impact injury. Cole Palmer was the soul of Chelsea's attacking creativity. Every touch he took carried intention. Every run he made forced a defensive shift. Every pause he created manipulated tempo. He had become, in just 2 seasons, the face of Chelsea's resurgence, a player capable of brilliance in any situation. But brilliance comes at a price. Palmer had played more minutes than almost anyone in the squad, with Maresca heavily dependent on him for chance creation, set pieces, and leadership. The workload slowly accumulated until his body began to protest. A collision late in Chelsea's previous Premier League match left him nursing a bruised ankle. He finished the game, but the pain intensified overnight. An X-ray ruled out a fracture, but swelling persisted. Palmer could walk. He could even jog. But changing direction sharply was painful, and scanning photos from training showed him grimacing between movements Maresca wasn't willing to gamble. He remembered all too well how Chelsea had suffered last season when Palmer was forced out for weeks. If something happened again, if the swelling worsened, if the ligament strained, the consequences would stretch far beyond the Barcelona match. Cole disagreed. "It's Barça. I can't miss that." "You'll play," Maresca replied, "if you're fit. But this club can't afford another long-term injury. You know that better than anyone." The uncertainty remained. Chelsea needed his creativity against Barcelona's high defensive line. Without him, their attack might lose rhythm, fluency, and unpredictability. Jamie Bino Gittens, the left-wing prodigy, halted by a training collision. Jamie Bino Gittens had quickly become a fan favourite. His blend of youthful fearlessness and technical flair made him one of the Premier League's most exciting young attackers. Every time he received the ball, supporters leaned forward in their seats, expecting something special. But youth also comes with fragility. During a small-sided training match, Jamie attempted a first-time finish while clashing with a teammate. He landed awkwardly, twisting his knee. Medical staff rushed over immediately. His scream was sharp but short, more shock than agony. Tests suggested no ligament tear, but severe inflammation and lateral knee strain. A few days of rest, the doctor said. The problem was that a few days meant pushing right up against the Barcelona match. Jamie wanted to return instantly. He begged to test himself on the bike, in the gym, even on the pitch. But Chelsea were cautious. The club had already seen young talents across Europe lose entire seasons by returning a week too early. They refused to let Jamie become another name on that list. Still, the timing couldn't have been worse. Barcelona's fullbacks were vulnerable in 1v1 duels. Jamie's speciality. His absence would remove one of Chelsea's most dangerous attacking weapons. The pressure around Cobham grows. By the time the news of all 4 injuries leaked into the media, the entire football world reacted with shock. Barcelona's camp, already preparing intensely for the clash, privately breathed a sigh of relief. Chelsea, on the other hand, faced an avalanche of speculation. Could they survive without Enzo's control? Could they create chances without Palmer? Could they break Barcelona's press without Neto's and Jamie's pace? Would Maresca be forced to change his system entirely? Around Cobham, training sessions felt muted. Players were focused, but tension hung in the air. Every member of the squad understood what was at stake. The Champions League was not merely a tournament, it was Chelsea's chance to regain their place among Europe's elite. Maresca held a private meeting with the squad. "We don't know who will be fit," he admitted. But Barcelona isn't preparing for excuses. They're preparing for 3 points. Whether we play with 4 injuries or none, our responsibility is the same: to fight. His voice remained calm, but the players sensed the anxiety behind his words. Club doctors work around the clock. As the countdown to 25th November continued, Chelsea's medical department became the busiest room in London. Specialists monitored the recovery of all 4 players meticulously. Enzo Fernandez received nerve therapy, light mobility exercises, and spinal decompression routines. Pedro Neto underwent high-frequency muscle stimulation and controlled sprint testing. Cole Palmer used anti-inflammatory treatment, hydrotherapy, and carefully supervised ball control drills, Jamie Bino Gittins focused on reducing knee inflammation with cryotherapy and soft tissue rehabilitation. Every update mattered. Every small improvement felt like hope. Every setback felt catastrophic. On the 22nd of November, 3 days before the match, Maresca received an early morning report. It wasn't good. It wasn't catastrophic. It was the one thing managers hate most. Uncertain for Barcelona. The tactical nightmare. The injuries forced Maresca to rethink everything. His system relied on fluidity, technical precision, and speed. Losing Enzo, Palmer, Neto, and Bino Gittins meant losing the main playmaker, the main tempo controller, the two most explosive wide threats. The replacements were talented, and Romeo Lavia trained with intensity, hoping to step up, but they lacked the chemistry and influence of the injured quartet. Barcelona's midfield, Gavi, Pedri, and De Jong, would dominate possession without Enzo. Their high defensive line would be harder to exploit without Neto and Jamie. Their press would be easier to manage without Palmer pulling defenders out of position. Maresca's tactical team worked late nights, drawing different shapes, experimenting with alternative pressing schemes, and creating contingency plans for the worst-case scenario. The players refused to give up. Despite the grim outlook, all four injured stars refused to accept defeat. For Enzo, it became a matter of pride. For Neto, a matter of destiny. For Palmer, a matter of responsibility. For Bino Gittins, a matter of proving he belonged on the biggest stage. Their training sessions became battles against their own bodies. Enzo stepped back onto the pitch cautiously, completing passing drills with growing confidence. Neto pushed his hamstring to its limit, sprinting in controlled bursts. Palmer darted around cones, testing his ankle under pressure. Jamie worked on explosive movements, his knee gradually responding. No one wanted to be ruled out. Not for Barca. Not in the Champions League. Not when their teammates needed them. The night before the match, on 24th November, the final medical exam took place. The results would decide everything. The squad tried to remain calm, but whispers filled the training centre corridors. Even the physios seemed nervous. Maresca sat alone in his office, staring at the clock, imagining the many possible versions of tomorrow night. At 8:17 p.m, the doctors knocked on his door. Some can make it, they said. Some can't. The exact details would remain confidential until match day. But one thing was clear. Chelsea were entering the battle with Barcelona in a storm of uncertainty. The final hour's fans gathered outside Stamford Bridge, unaware of the final decisions, but desperate for good news. The atmosphere felt like the calm before a storm. Discussions, debates, arguments, and prayers filled every corner of West London. Could Chelsea pull off a miracle? Would the injured stars appear in the squad list? Would Barcelona take advantage of the chaos? Inside the dressing room, the team prepared for war. Some injured players were taping their ankles, stretching hamstrings, testing torsos, pushing through the discomfort because the night demanded everything. Maresca watched them, torn between protecting his players and believing in their spirit. One thing was certain. Chelsea would walk onto the pitch on the 25th of November, 2025, knowing that nothing had been easy. Not preparation, not recovery, not belief, not the road that brought them here. And so the story continues. Whether Enzo Fernandez, Pedro Neto, Cole Palmer, and Jamie Bino Gittins ultimately made the squad or not, their struggle became the defining narrative of Chelsea's preparation. Their fight symbolised the resilience of a team trying to reclaim its place on the European stage. Their uncertain availability turned a football match into a test of collective courage. Barcelona awaited. Chelsea braced themselves, and the whole world watched, holding its breath.